Alright, what's up guys? My name is Ricardo Cardoso, and this video will be a response to Kenny KO. He made a video about Jeff Seid, claiming that he most likely isn't natural, and in this video I'm gonna try to explain my point of view, because I do believe that Jeff Seid is natural. You can see here Jeff has always had those freak genetics, okay? He simply was blessed with amazing genetics, not only when it comes to muscular development. He was, I think, 14 years old in this picture. Not only at a muscular development standpoint, he was also great when it comes to strength and all that, because he was a wrestler. He had tons of medals on that. He was a football player. He did well there too. So he basically has been a sports guy for all of his life, basically. In this pic, he is 17 years old, as you can see, and I mean, you can clearly see the difference, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty big difference. Okay, he grew a lot, but like I said, he always had those great genetics, and the first years of lifting, as you guys know, are the best. Those are the newbie gains years of lifting, and for that reason I think that this is totally attainable for a guy that has these genetics, right? And let's be real, I mean, who takes steroids at 17 years old? So at this point, I think that there is no question at all that he is natty. He was 18 years old when this pic was taken, and to be honest, here the lighting is a little bit better, and I mean, he's not in the same room, obviously, and you can't really realistically judge the difference between both of these physiques, but in my opinion there really isn't that much big of a difference. He probably took this pic after workout, so he had a pump going on and all that. That's why he looks a little bit more jacked in this pic. And I mean, he probably was a little bit more shredded in this pic. He probably was dieting or something, as you can see here, but he was shredded also here. Now, this pic brings me to the first point that most people, I'm not sure if Kenny KO stated this, I think not, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways, because this is one of the reasons that most people point to explain why Jeff isn't natty. Most people think that Jeff Seid is single-digit body fat year-round, and that's absolutely not true. People that say that simply don't follow Jeff. And for me, as a follower and as a fan, I know that Jeff simply isn't single-digit body fat year-round. I mean, this is when he was bulking for the Olympia, the 2017 Olympia, and I mean, a lot of you guys think that he is like super shredded and all that, and if you guys look closely, at this point he was eating like 5,000 calories or something a day, and he has done this for like 2 months or so, and as you can see, he is still kind of lean. I mean, don't get me wrong, he has a lot of body fat here, but he's still, you can still see some details on, his obliques and all that, and that just shows his genetic potential. You know what I mean? Like, obviously here he's like, I don't know, maybe a good 16% body fat or some shit like that. He's definitely not shredded here, but there's still some, signs of leanness, if you know what I mean. That just shows that he has amazing genetics, guys. You cannot discredit the genetic potential that this guy has. You know what I mean? And after this, after he shredded down to the Olympia, and after he competed, you can see by his Instagram posts that he immediately got more body fat. He wasn't as shredded. I mean, he the claim that most people do that he is single digit body fat year round is just simply not true. Okay, most of the time I would say that he's like 10%, something like that, and in my opinion 10-11% is not hard to maintain for a guy with his genetics. uh, I can speak for myself. I'm also a bodybuilder, obviously, but and I also have the genetics to keep myself lean without worrying too much, and I can keep my body fat at like 12 at the most without even worrying about it. I can eat whatever the fuck I want as long as I train. It won't go any higher. Now, the other point that I want to make here is that Jeff loses a lot of size, and a lot of fullness too when he diets down to competition. I mean, okay, I know that these peaks are a few years apart, but I mean, look at this. He's just fucking massive in these peaks. But here, I mean, he's absolutely shredded, but a lot thinner. And another thing that I normally see on Jeff's side is that, I mean, you look at his body, and honestly, he doesn't really scream steroids. I mean, he doesn't have that fullness, that amazing fullness that, you know, guys like Sadiq or Jeremy Buendia or, I don't know, Brendan Hendrickson, you know, all those guys are absolutely shredded, and at the same time they have this crazy fullness, and Jeff doesn't really have that. I mean, in my opinion, apart from the extremely shredness, which I think that is attainable for him because of his genetics, I mean, he doesn't really look enhanced at all, in my opinion. And he's small, let's be honest, he's small in these peaks. Here is him in one of his competitions. As you can see, again, in my opinion, he really has a natural look into him. I mean, there isn't like crazy amount of fullness on him. I mean, it's shredded, and to be honest, he really isn't like extremely shredded here, as you can see. I mean, his back lacks a lot of detail. Alright, I mean, some of you guys might be raging right now, like, I mean, this guy has an amazing physique, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, let me just set this clear. I am a fan of Jeff Seid, and I do think that he has the best physique ever, in my opinion, okay? This is my dream physique, but in order to kind of state that he is natural, I have to focus on the negative points on his physique, right? Here is Jeff on his first Olympia competition, and I mean, let's be honest. By looking at him and by looking at other competitors, like, let me say a smaller name, like Anton Antipov. I'm not sure, but I think that Anton hasn't placed top 10. And I mean, what the fuck? Jeff doesn't look like he's on gear when he's, you know, side by side with those guys. I mean, you can clearly see a lot of difference. He is way smaller. He isn't as full as them, not even near, and he's not as shredded as them. I mean, how is it that it's so hard to believe that this guy is natty? I mean, look at his back. There's no detail on his back. There isn't like that 3D effect that most enhanced guys that compete at this level have. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, he has an amazing physique, but he doesn't look enhanced. Now, this is probably my favorite shape for him ever. I mean, this was at the Stockholm Pro 2016, and here he was looking absolutely fucking sick. honestly, he was looking sick. He had a very good fullness, but again, his conditioning, I mean, it was good, don't get me wrong, but he looks a lot more watery and less shredded than every guy on that stage that day. You can go watch it if you want. This is his ultimate form. I mean, this was his 2016 Olympia, which was his last Olympia that he competed in, and I mean, again, he had great conditioning. Okay, his fullness was all right, but at the same time, comparing by the other guys up there, he really didn't stood out. I mean, his physique isn't good enough for that level, in my opinion, and you can really see that. I mean, he's not shredded to the point where you think, oh my god, this guy has to be on gear. I mean, it doesn't scream that to me, at least. Wait a minute. And this brings me to the first point that Kenny did on his video, which is competes almost every year. This just proves to me that Kenny doesn't follow Jeff's side. I mean, Jeff does not compete every year or almost every year, like he said. Jeff doesn't really compete, honestly. He competed at first when he was like 18 and 19, and after that he pretty much stopped competing until like 2016, where he did the Stockholm Pro and the Mr. Olympia. Now, to the FFMI part. So, Kenny's video, he said that Jeff has an FFMI of 25 point something, I'm not sure, and he used the weight that he used to calculate that was 216 pounds at 6'1" and 11% body fat. So this video here, this is a screenshot that I took from a video that he made, which is IFBB Pro Jeff Seid 16 days out from Pro Show. You guys can Google it; it will pop up pretty easily. In this video, Jeff weighs himself, and by judging his physique from this video, I would say that he is 11% body fat. I mean, keep in mind that he is relaxed. This lighting is shit, and his phone hasn't the best camera here. Okay, and and everything counts here. Okay, in my opinion, he is 11% body fat. If you watch the video, you can see that he is pretty conditioned. His waist is pretty slimmed out. He doesn't hold any visible body fat, and you can clearly see that he has conditioning. Okay, so I would say that he is 11% body fat here. I mean, it's pretty believable. Let's be honest. I mean, where does he have fat here? But if you want to, you can watch the video, and you will see a lot better than in this pic right here. So I did the calculations for 199, which is the weight that he weighs in his video. I did 11% body fat and height 6'1", and the FFMI turned out to be 23.09 or 23.42. This is an attainable natural FFMI, okay? The limit, I would say that it's like 24 or 25, and considering the genetics that Jeff has, let's be honest, man, he can really, really stretch the scale here. I mean, for a guy with these genetics, are you guys going to tell me that it's not possible for him to have a 23.42 FFMI? Come on. I mean, I think that it's very possible. And another thing is that his transformation has been pretty consistent along the time. He didn't have like any huge jump. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think that Jeff Seid is natural. And by the way, I want to tell you guys that I actually like Kenny KO. I like to watch his videos. I don't have anything against him. I simply wanted to share my opinion, and I think that if he watches this video, he will maybe consider my opinion, and who knows, maybe he might watch him a little bit closer and maybe start thinking that he might be natural. Thank you for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much. Bye.